All right, we are back for some round 2 action here in EU qualifier number 2. And we're going to join K10 once again. Had a bit of a beastly run in the first qualifier. Fell at one of the last hurdles, Vince. We'll see how well they can do against a bit of a more unknown quantity here. B2TG. Not really familiar with them myself, but we'll see how they play as we get into Inferno.
Yeah, this is another one of those kind of situations that we got into on the first day where it's like, yeah, we got one team that we know quite a bit about and the other one completely unknown. So K10 probably going to be a little bit more on the passive side, a bit more tentative maybe. You never know what kind of mad shenanigans a team like this can pull out, but we'll have to wait and see as all 5 players stacked on Banana have been spotted and Rest taking a little bit of damage, but nothing too serious. There is a smoke in the hands of Katka though, who can throw that down and try and block off the push, but he's deciding to hold on to it and go for the fights instead. Surely you just throw the smoke down. He's going to peek in, does get a kill though alongside Alan, but the T still could rampage through.
Head down for Shine, tries to keep himself alive towards the back of Pool. Katka peeks back out, but is hit by Docs. Beautiful follow-up as well. The Shoke will be taken out of the round, and you're down to a 3 versus 2. They've got control of the back of B. They can get the bomb planted. Gontar, though, finding an opportunity through the fading smoke towards CT, shuts down Tree60, the big pistol player for the T-side squad. They finally commit onto the bomb plant and have punched in those digits. So we're looking at a 2 versus 2 retake now.
Smoke in the hands of the 2 Ts, and it is K10 that pluck off the first headshot. Gontar, last man standing, has already picked up 1 in this round, but pretty hard to see how he can get anything done when the 2 remaining K10 players are playing right next to each other. The buddy system has been set up. Kit picked up. Gonna try and tickle the bomb, draw out the Ts into the open, but it's gonna be all K10 in the end. And I go back to that moment again. I don't know if there's some nerves. I don't know what's going on with Katka. You've got a smoke. You know that multiple players, he saw at least 3 people coming around the corner. Why not just underarm the smoke and block them off? Force them to push in blind. I don't get it. What was he holding the smoke for? A retake? It makes no sense to me.
Bit of a weird one. Bit of a weird one indeed, but it did feel a little bit slow to the boil for him. Nice round from Zai, though. That's clean. 3 frags picked up for him on the pistol. Get a bit of momentum behind him early. And K10 mostly investing into those MAC-10s. They've got the SMGs to play with. You like to see it, bud. CS2, just get in your face. Pull out those MAC-10s, run in, use the momentum, use the speed. See if you can cause a bit of commotion early towards top brackets. Draw out the peak from B2G. Obviously, if they peek into you here, you've got a bit of an advantage to work with. You can just rinse your way through them so quickly with the time to kill on those bad boys. But they just opt to go for the full 5-man stack. Everyone stationed on the A bomb site. They're testing the waters towards B. Rest's going to realize that it's now open. They'll clear out site, get the bomb down, and in reality, should be just the round passed over to K10.
Yeah, this feels like one of the easiest predictions to make, doesn't it? That K10 to get that 2-0. Watching out for the flank is Tree60 with his MAC-10, but they're actually going to bypass him, so maybe he could catch a couple of players unaware, but Docs is watching Banana. He also has the SMG to his side. This wide swing peek in. Yeah, this is just going to be a case of mopping up the stragglers and getting a ton of cash. All 3 kills so far have been from the MAC-10, so you're seeing already Docs up to 1,600, Tree60, 1,000. You can add another $600 into that bank account. All 5 players from SMGs. That's about as good as it gets from K10. Tons of cash now.
Fed the beast a little bit there, really, didn't they? Just playing into the hands of K10. So those MAC-10s paying for themselves and an awful lot more. Money is there on the side of the CTs though, so the rebuy will finally come out. Gontar going for the glass cannon orb, a full investment. It's risky business these days. It was always a bit of a coin flip if it was worth the investment back in the day of CSGO, but CS2, current meta, mate, this one really is an all or nothing play. Double Molotov to deny the initial Banana contact. Rests put up on top of the pedestal. Clears out towards the sandbags area. Molotov would have forced them off a position. Nade rolls round the corner. Gontar has to instantly hit this shot. If he gets aim punched, Vince, it's all going to go down the pan.
Yeah, precisely. Plus, you'd expect that at least one of these 10 players will throw a smoke over or a flash. That's exactly what's happened, so now he has to be that little bit more careful. Peeks in, gets the kill. Fair play to Gontar. He's got the impact that he was looking for, picking up that glass cannon, and now he can back away. Can get back onto the A side of the map and join his brethren, so that's a really nice passage of play.
It's the first domino fallen. But to get that knock-on effect, you're going to need to push a little bit harder. Timing-wise, though, the clock is starting to tick down. Just under 50 seconds now. Rotate off from B all the way around towards the A site. He posted up thinking maybe they give up banana control. They wrap back round and attempt to take quad. In reality, they've stationed themselves towards top banana, and they're going for a late 30-second burst onto the bomb site, Vince. Has to be clean here from K10.
It certainly does. That's a good Molotov. Draws Kaka out into the open. And now Shulk with the MP9 can't fare any better. He said it had to be clean, it had to be precise, and they've done just that. Surgical strike, a success. The post plant on the board, and B2 TJ really doesn't roll off the tongue, that name. I'm not going to lie.
The old letters and numbers.
Yeah, the classics.
Oh man, it'll turn out as well that it's actually it's pronounced like Cedric or something, you know?
Yeah. You're saying it wrong, Casters. Don't you know anything about us? Nope.
So they always get you, bud. So they always get you. I do like the resilience shown though from K10, at least into the round. I mean, they lose 2 players at the end here, but again, bit of a Brucey bonus, right? It's only the MAT 10s that they've already paid off by now. They're not in debt to those SMGs, so it's fine. You can get a rebuy out. Some of the players do stay alive as well, so a bit of money building on a few of them. But that was nice. Good heads-up play. Yeah, you lost banana control early, but they just waited out the AWP, and Gontar kind of played into their hands. He wrapped off thinking, all right, I've got the first pick. Maybe they go A. Tried to defend towards quad. No one comes a knocking. But still has the scope. That AWP wasn't thrown away, Vince. So it's still in play. It's just supporting a bit of a lesser buy around it. A bit of a mixed bag of weapons, right? Not much utility either, which CT side Inferno, bud. You need those nades.
Oh, 100%. I think it's one of the most important maps for that, because so many bottleneck entry points for the Ts. You want nades desperately. Prioritize it, honestly. If you have to dip down to an MP9, especially in CS2, over an M4, do it to get those extra nades. And they've lost the first player. Gontar's been tagged down at 45 as well. Early doors looking a little bit bleak for the CTs here. They do have Alan that's perched up in the bedroom in apps, and he can maybe get a drop. There we go. 2 players have bypassed him, though, and that could lull the CTs into a false sense of security. And 360 has silently moved his way down like a ninja. He's got the shurikens out. He's ready to pop in and try and dome a couple players, and they have no idea. He's getting around the back of them. This should be the nuts play. This should be the round falling the way of K10.
The round's in the palm of his hands right now, and he goes for the full wrap as well. Out through arch. He's directly behind them, and they've played into it, Vince. It just depends on the timing. That contact gives him the inkling of where exactly Shock is, and he's able to find the frag. Meanwhile, Zai will trade back onto Alan, and now it's down to just 2 players, both of them over towards Banana. Bomb site is completely K10's. Bomb will be planted, and they'll walk away with a 4th round. Great timing there. The internal clock for 360 working well for the backstab.
Yeah, I thought for a second he'd also been timed when the player pushed through on arches. He had a few shots, speculative shots at his teammates, but it was only an MP9, fortunately. If that was an M4, things could have got a little bit shady for K10. AK has been picked up, though, by Katka. Should be a solid weapon to take out of the round. Spray is on point finally. Did take a stray bullet, though. So limping back to T-Spawn to save the AK. But K10 won't care too much about this. They are 4-0 to the good. And although a buy will be coming up next, CTs have been struggling. They feel like they are maybe a little bit outclassed. But it is still early days, Jackie. Maybe they can show us a bit of a different change of pace here and start to get some success. I hope from a neutral's perspective, and I am trying to remain neutral, even though K10 have some potential next-generation massive UK talent. From a neutral perspective, I hope they do get some success. I hope it is going to be a close game, because it's always a bit rough to cast a blowout. You know, you always want to see some spicy CS.
No, it's nice. It is always nice to watch, man. And the thing is, with the nature of these open qualifiers, the more intense all of the rounds are, the better it bodes for the entirety of the scene over the course of CS2, right? You'd only hope that each year these RMR qualifiers get more and more competitive. Because you think of the average level of CS, Vince, back like 10 years ago, right? When we were kind of floating around, giving it a good run, seeing what we could get up to. Maybe we take a couple rounds. These days, the average player, they just know everything. They know all the smokes, they know how to clear the angles, and they hit their bloody shots. This time it's Shine that will hit a shot on entry this way into Banana. Katka looks for the trade back as well with the AK. Looking a bit rough for him though. Basically just caught out on an island. Rest puts him down in the dirt. Allen's on rotate. The Dox is waiting. Good understanding of where his head is, and he takes it clean off. So that's K10 with another round. You got to just save it. Just hold on to the M4.
Yeah, the nature in which they were decapitated there over on the B site definitely doesn't bode well for B2TG. There we go. I got it right that time. Practice.
Good job, bud. Well done.
Getting there
those reps
at a time, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. But they did just get slaughtered, and that's a bit of a concern for me. The setup they have as well, they don't have those flashes in for Gontar's peak with the AWP, and you have the very real possibility when you stack 3 players on B each round, which is a little bit unorthodox by itself. A lot of teams will do it to transfer smokes and then run back across the A side. When you're consistently stacking 3 players there is the possibility you're going to trip over each other's shoes. You know, you're going to end up getting stuck in these weird bottlenecks where HEs and flashes are flying about. You're getting in each other's way, and that's what happened in that last round. So the CTs have called the tactical timeout. They're going to try and get on the same page, but considering that K10 had a really solid run of it, I mean, I think you said at one point, Jackie, for your money, it was one of the hardest runs to get through to the round of 16, where they lost to, obviously, Movistar Koi, who are no scrubs themselves. Quite an impressive performance from them, beating Nexus, beating a whole bunch of different teams. So it's definitely not a small task for the CTs here to best K10, who look in very sharp form.
Oh, absolutely, mate. It's one of those, right, where we kind of do those like less than, greater than little chevrons. If Endpoint lost to Sashi and then K10 beat Sashi, it's kind of like, all right, where are we looking in terms of the rankings? So it's interesting. I'm curious how a lot of those teams are going to do again now they're back in the mix over the course of today as well. Because obviously Sashi are going to have to play again. Endpoint are going to have to go straight back into it. We're getting to see what K10's early doors are looking like. And we get a few more games out of it today as well, because it was cut short with day 1 when we did qualifier 1. This time around, I believe we're going up pretty late, all the way towards the round of 32 or something, and that first set will be on HLTV. So a lot of eyes on some of these teams, and that can always add a bit of pressure. That can make it a little bit harder, right? Because those are games where your stats are tracked. You know, that's sometimes a bit of a back-end element that you forget about for some of these players, where they're like, oh, I'm going to be on HLTV, all right, I've got to perform. Makes you think about the game a bit differently. Into this round, though, it is a bit more level pegging, at least. There is room for this to actually be a CT side pickup. That is if they don't over-egg it towards Banana. Feels like Katka's kind of debating if he wants to push the whole way down. If he does, that angle's being watched. Zai's ready for it. Instead, it's the peek out from Shoke. He's going to walk round on towards Quad and give that one up for free. Shine hits the mark. Now they're doubling back, gravitating around towards the B site, and they've lured in Katkax. It is the whole way down, playing close towards the angle. And he's just getting flanked, Vince. They've given up all of that deep CT control. He'll get backstabbed no matter what happens here.
Yeah, they're waiting for Dox to make a move here and try and clear up these angles. They do go for the aggression through mid, which I definitely appreciate, but maybe Gontar going for that second peak, not quite the play. Now K10, Dox is checking all these angles. The timing here will allow Katka the first kill. He should get backstabbed right now. Dox may have missed his opportunity. He does. 8 seconds. But keep in mind that the last CT player is here, ready to repel this push. And Z should be gone. He should be a dead man. Runs out of time anyway. And the CTs pick up their first round. A real strange one. Dox had the chance, but he whiffed his spray.
Man. It felt like that was the GG round in the bag, right? You've been able to pull off the flank. Just all goes a little bit haywire on the peppering. Bullets don't connect. So they pick up a round. Is this the first of many? Was it a fluke? What more can they do, though? That's the consistent question. You got to do these repeatedly. It can't be a one-off. It can't be a little round here and there. You need more. CT side Inferno, right? Got to get into the groove of things. Heavy utility dumped down on Banana. And they play on the off angles this time. I haven't actually seen them sat behind the sandbags too much. Close on the broke wall now. Re-peeks in with the flash. They've tried this before. Doesn't connect where it needs to be. Doesn't blind the player behind the wall. Alan tries as he might to smite another player. Goes down to the nade from Zai, who will bounce that off the wall. And this really is just turning into a bloodbath at Banana, Vince. This is horrific.
Yeah, so much utility dumped, but it didn't feel like the kind of aggression was there behind it. And although Gontar will shut down Dox, who was trying to peek up on the Archer's side again, cheekily going for that same play. He gets punished. 360, though. We'll now know that Gontar was last spotted around the Archer's side, so he goes in for another repeat, picks up his 9th kill of the game thus far. And as you said, you need consistency. You need to get that double up if you're wanting to really get into that economy of K10, get yourself back into this half. Well, it's a one and done, and their economy has been put back into the bin. They can't even afford to get rifles in this round. It's going to be pistols, a half buy down to around $2,000. That's all they can really muster for this.
So not too much cash there. Oof. Jumping across mid, at least the reaction shot from Shine didn't instantly skewer the man making the move. So you do still have a 5 versus 5, but you're so far outnumbered when it comes to the weaponry. Freeze Eagles lying in wait towards top Banana. Again, utility damage really ripping its way through them. Timing on the peak, trying to bait off one another, but they basically just peek in one by one, giving up those freebies. Only real response is onto Dox as he's dropped by the P250. That's a single rifle. You've at least been able to grab that on Gontar, and he's looking for the lurk round. He's being hunted by 360, but his teammate on the bomb site is already put into the dirt.
This has been a rapid map of CS so far, and it's been heavily in favor of K10. Gontar looking for the save. There is a prowling 360 who is looking to try and clean up and make sure no save weapons come out of this. And obviously Gontar, the AWPer, quite clearly for B2TG. We'll probably toss that AK across to, I imagine, Teen, and then go ahead and get that up for himself. 360's gone all the way back into Library CT side. It looks like Gontar will save this gun, but you're 7-1 behind the CT side of Inferno. And when you consider that, you know, the kind of lower tier teams in this bracket are probably going to struggle more when it comes to that T half, it kind of feels like the future is quite bleak if you're on the CTs right now. Like, you've got to start getting some success. I feel like at least 4 rounds, it has to be for the CTs if they're going to have a chance in this game.
Yeah, you've got to have a bit of a facelift at the tail end of the half here. There's not really a way to sugarcoat it. That's the hard bit about it. It feels like if you have a bad half in CS now, it's more competitive than ever. That it really does bleed into your second half. Makes your life so awkward to get back into the groove of games. Mounting those big comebacks isn't as easy as it used to be. And it was never a simple task in its heyday. Gontar, given a freebie though. Dox walks up, opting to play contact. They feel confident at middle. It does seem like B2TG have given them an awful lot of room when it comes to that bracket control. So K10 think, hey, maybe we can just go for a bit of a peek here, a bit of a pick. But they don't get a freebie on this one. Bit of a difference as well in the way they're playing it towards Banana. They've taken deep Banana control. You've got the smoke up. They've still got another nade to play with as well to re-smoke that if they want to. So Shoke's going to deploy that now and burn a bit of time off the clock, you'd imagine. Leaving them down with sort of about 45 to 30 seconds on the clock once that blooms.
Yep, smoke has been deployed. Looking a little bit better here. B2TG. Shoke just using that small alcove as a bit of a reprieve, as he does have backup in the form of Katka behind him. And K10 just going to wait that smoke out, I think. They're going to probably deploy a couple of flashes, or maybe just going for that straight up frag. Oh, they had great position, great time. But K10 have still neutralized the 2 Banana players, and in doing so can just fast track across to this site. Even though there's a couple of low members on their team, this post plant is going to be very difficult to pick up if you are on the CTs with no incendiaries, no smokes, a ton of flashes, but not much else.
Flashbang to clear out towards Ruins. Tree blind in the church as he falls. Shine replies, hits the head of one. Alan trying to close the gap between them. Time is of the essence. The bomb's so far ticked, and it's a tap onto the head that removes Alan, leaving it all on Gontar. But Gontar's mission is about getting away, and they keep him trapped in. They're trying to hold on to this one, as they will find the headshot, not only stealing the round, but stealing away any element of B2G's game plan. They don't have the AWP to work with. That's another big piece of the puzzle removed and restricted. So it only gets harder, Vince. It's got to feel like there is a crushing weight being put on your chest right now.
Yeah, and those are the kind of rounds where you really need to convert. You know, you got the smoke down, there's 30, 35 seconds on the clock, 2 players, Banana can play off each other. To both get fragged with only 1 kill in retaliation, it just isn't good enough against a team like K10. Like, the sad state of reality is if you're B2TG here, every small scrap of information that you have, every small scrap of opportunity you have to grasp with both hands and not let go. And in doing so now, you can see again they're back to pistols, again their backs against the wall, and K10, whatever happens from this point, even if somehow the CT's got 3 rounds in a row, they've got a phenomenal 8 rounds on the T half of Inferno. Like, that is already, any team would take that happily.
Yeah, you know you're sitting pretty right now. And the thing is as well, with how momentum-based CS is these days, it just feels like you can kind of run away with rounds pretty quickly. The second you start just, you know, picking up enough rounds that you can keep going, keep grinding. Don't have to worry as much about playing a very strategic game. You can just hit again and again and again. It just feels like it ticks on by. It feels like there's no way of really stopping it. So towards the tail end of this half, K10 maintain this pace. So even if they drop a few rounds, it's not going to be easy for B2TG to make their way back in. Back to basics with Banana control. Seems to be the call here.
Some solid nades tossed out at the start of that round, actually. Softened up K10. But they couldn't really work off the back of it. Nice deke from Alan. AK picked up. Second frag comes in. But no kits. No chance with the timer so low. And no save weapons on top of it. Shine is not missing with that AWP. So whereas 360 yesterday when we casted them on, I believe it was Vertigo, was having tons of success, this has been way more of a team effort. You know, he's actually down there at 9 kills. You got Shine on 9 as well. Zai's on 11. Rest on 8 as well. It's like, you know, real team effort, and that's got to be pretty terrifying if you're against K10. It's not just a one-man army. The whole team's coming at you.
No, it does feel good. It feels like they're all firing on all cylinders today. It's about conserving that energy as well, right, Vince? Because, you know, the longer it goes on for them, if they're able to have a run similar to what they had yesterday, you want to try and win all of your games as cleanly and as quickly as possible so that you're having time to rest, having time to, you know, have a bit of food in between, have a bit of a break in between to keep yourself going without burning out. Ooh, this time, they try and make their move out through balcony, and they do get burned. Tree and Docs both go down. So one of the very few rounds we've seen where B2TG look like they have quite a big grasp on things. Could have been Gontar's glory there with the AWP, but he only grabs one. Shine still standing, round towards Archside. Oh, he was ready for it as well. Reads the angle nicely and hits the shot. A lot of damage, but it did chip through the actual concrete, so it won't be a full commit on the kill. Yeah, it's just a bit of damage done. Very low now, though, Vince. 1 HP, and he's still standing.
That Molotov nearly tickled him. All the way to a grave. Shine is still in with a chance here. Does have control over the bomb. 1 weakened player. 2 players. Look at the respect that B2TG is showing here. 2 players stuck back at spawn just in case he rotates around the back. Shine tosses the AWP away. He's going to go in for this. They've got tons and tons of cash. Love this play. He doesn't want to just gift wrap them a free AWP. He's going to trade up to the AK-47 instead. Try and do some damage, but get shut down in the back. I love the effort, but it is going to be the second round for B2TG. And they'll hope that they can get a third. They had chances, though. That's what's going to really hurt them, right in the pit of their stomach, is they know they had opportunities to maybe extend for another couple of rounds on this half, and they just didn't pull the trigger in time.
So 2 rounds in the bucket. That's what they've picked up for now. Go into the 12th. Bombardment of nades. A lot of damage on that. Ooh, okay. Couple frags being found, at least back in fashion for the T side, as the AK will bite off too. Gontar's here, low HP on rest. Timing could have been beautiful, but he still finds the follow-up. Turns the bulb off as he flicks the switch, and Shine goes out. Rest forced to recover the bomb, grabs the AWP as well. 360 rotates in. Outnumbered here. A good chance for a 3rd round for the CTs. They're going to want to grab this one, Vince. Can't let it fall through the fingertips. Sees the man. Problem is, the bullets create space for both teams to see each other. That line of sight goes both ways, and the AWP punishes. Tree's got himself into such a good lurk, but they clear the angle.
Wonder if he was waiting to see if that second player came round as well. It felt like he was a little bit unsure, a bit tentative, and that cost him his life and cost him that 2v2 clutch. So 9-3 going to be the score. K10 still, make no mistake, well and truly in the driver's seat, well and truly in the ascendancy. But at least 3 rounds. And if a second pistol goes the way of B2TG, maybe there can be a lifeline yet. Maybe that door just moves slightly ajar. Firmly locked right now, however. And we know that K10's pistol work is pretty damn good. And they're on the CT side. They've got a HE and a flash on Docs and a smoke on Shine.
Oh, this is old school cool. I enjoy this, mate. You just go for the mid bombardment, see if you can try and take control towards bottom middle and crunch onto the T's. Issue is, they're the ones being bit down by the P250 as Gontar goes absolutely Goliath mode into this round, Vince. 3 frags already found, so a pistol maybe being passed over to B2 here. Unless Shine, ooh, camera spawn, spammed into the smoke, but takes some damage himself.
Takes damage, Shine now. Back against the wall. 24 HP, but still nails between the eyes. Allen. Post plant in. They didn't have a kit coming into this round, so Shine knows if he wants any chance of clutching this, he's going to have to press forward quickly. Close that gap and give himself the best opportunity to show what he's capable of. Katka on the periphery of that peak. Misses out on the kill, but does tag Shine down to 8. He's trying to bait him out into the open here, Shine, and it has worked to charm. But Katka still puts the USP downrange to the head. And B2TG, they are going to make a game of this. Pick up the second pistol, make K10 sweat a little bit, keep the economy low. But they've got to make sure, the worst case scenario here, Jackie, is you win the pistol, you go into the second round, and you end up getting slumped by Deagles and 5.7s or something like that. Like, you've got to get this round clean.
It needs to be. It needs to be absolutely spotless. Even just for their own confidence as well. They opt to go for it again. A relatively big stack on the side. Again for the boost up in the corner. Everyone towards the cubby on the off angle, playing on top of one another. A bit of a tank being formed with Shine looking to bait them in. Obviously, the gamble is he hits the 1 deek, or if he goes down, they think, all right, we've got an opening on A, and they commit to the bait. So he's putting himself out on the line right now, hoping that he can fish them in, and then the rest of the team on the stack can dispatch them.
Time ticking away, but T's being very passive, very patient. Certainly looking like they could get baited into this. Oh no. Smoke over, flash tossed in as well. This stack could prove so costly. Katka finds out. They knock down the tower for the first 2 players. They're not anticipating there's going to be more here. And now they're going to turn up the heat. Gontar spray is good though. And it looks like they're going to get away with this. Unless Shine could put 3 dirty deke headshots into play, but Tien says no. That was looking incredibly grim for a couple of seconds, but they managed to scamper away with their lives.
It's the devil in the details as well, isn't it? You love that one because you go for the double boost together. It's such a relatively new off angle in the way that kind of cubby's really come into its own in CS2. It wasn't really that way before and how Inferno was designed previously. And you can tuck so far in. Obviously, the second set of players, you don't see them if you don't hard clear it. At least one nice element to that as well, you know, if you spam the bottom player, the player on top falls into your crosshair. It's the better way to deal with it. You shoot the player on top, you leave yourself susceptible. It's way harder to get the conversion onto the second player. So they dealt with it nicely. Even then, it was still pretty costly. Oh, mate. This is a cost-efficient buy if ever I've seen one. They're about to get mauled, Vince. This shot is going to deal some definitely blows. Straight up close in the apartments. Meet my friend Auto Shotty.
They shook hands. The Shulk has been sent packing in the apps. And 360... I like that he doesn't get too aggressive. He doesn't go in for the repeat. He decides to back away instead. He's got what he's looking for. There's no reason to over-egg it. Repositions now as well. Keeping his options as versatile as possible. And really throwing in a bit of confusion for Tien. Because last seen just around the corner on the longer side of the apps, he's going to be checking his right-hand side for sure. Maybe even his left-hand side. And in doing so, he gives himself up his back to 360. And meanwhile, Kaka goes in against Shine. Smoke has been put down. And this allows 360 to just stay in position. He doesn't have to worry as much about being pushed from the back. And with 30 seconds left, they're going to be funneled in to Zai. But he misses his spray. He's had a good game so far, so that's pretty surprising. But more importantly, it opens up Arches and the wraparound to B side. That's going to put way more pressure on those B holders.
There's a lurker afoot. Whoa, but it might not matter, as the entries with the AKs are beastly. They bombard their way into the site and cleave their way through the defensive CTs, Vince, leaving it all up to Shine. 7 seconds on the clock as the digits are punched in and the bomb is down. Alan's ready for this. He's already going in with the backup of Gontar to play aggressive angles where they can trade for each other. Even if Shine finds the pick, you should be able to trade it. That's what they're gambling on. What is his call in this round? Looks for the peek out. Paranoid about the left, needs to clear the right. They jiggle in. Does he hard clear it? Does hit the head. Delayed on the reface as well. They play into him. And Shine lights out on that one. Picks up the clutch, Vince. That's a rough round to lose. Having that ripped out of your hands is going to be such a hefty hit to BTG.
Yeah, I mean, you called it. You nailed it, Jackie. They were going for that crossfire set play, almost bait and switch between the two players. The problem is, though, that you have to fully commit behind that. I think it was Gontar that was going for the shoulder peaks. Like, you have to keep yourself out there to allow that second player to get the angle, because Shine was able to peek the first without being spotted by the second, and they could go clear, hard clear the right-hand side in order to deal with the left-hand side player. So it's like they've dipped their toe in the pool. They were like, yeah, this is a cool idea, let's try it. But neither of them fully committed, and in doing so, Shine just blazes a path through to the site. That's a retake that should never happen. And B2TG may be showing a bit of lack of experience, a bit of lack of composure when it really matters. Because make no mistake, K10 were on the ropes there. They lose that round. They're going to be broken here into the next one. It's still not a great buy regardless. That was their chance, their golden opportunity to get themselves right back in this and be breathing down the necks again. Instead, it's 10-5, and all the good work they've done on this half has pretty much just been eviscerated. Like, it's going to sting so much.
Salt in the wound, man. Really is salt in the wound. It's shame. It's a shame for him. Vince felt like maybe they were starting to get a bit of momentum back. And now it's going to be a hard-fought fight. Alan at least does shake it off early, but you can't shake off the shrapnel from that HE. That's going to inflict a ton of pain, removing about 100 health there between the two players. Follow-up Molotov does the job of holding them back if they do commit to the push as well, as Dox will ignite Banana and get the deep re-smoke off, trying to split up the push between the two players. The fadeaway HE, well, the first one didn't leave them nearly lifeless, the second one certainly did. So a lot of damage done. Of course, you won't have full information on how much that's hit them for, potentially the audio cue at best. It is an advantage in terms of the battle of attrition, though. You can use those players as potential trades. That's the one important fact. If they Wolfpack and go for the B play, they just need Alan and time to entry, and you back it up with the rifles behind them.
Especially as Dox doesn't have a flash or a smoke or an incendiary. Really nothing to block this one off. So he's going to have to stand by himself and be that lone survivor. But instead, he gets smacked up through the smoke and a flash on top of it. That is the bomb site going across, and it's going to be the save for K10. They want no part of this with their low economy. They kind of dangled Docs out there and said, let's see what you can do, Chief. If you can get a couple kills, sure, we'll go in for the retake. But as soon as he died without getting any revenge kills in the process, they closed their account, packed up shop, and pieced out of there. So 6-10, B2TG. You know, I thought, honestly, their CT side would probably be their stronger side, but so far they're proving me wrong, Jackie. They're actually looking pretty sharp here on their T half. Not bad at all.
It's a weird position to be in, right, Vince? Because it does sort of feel like, you know, the old school sort of easy theory of how CS is played on the CT side doesn't apply anywhere near as much, where people are far more talented now when it comes to just taking fights, playing together as a wolf pack. When you can look for those trades, a bit easier on the T side, when you can play with that mobility, the MAC-10, the AK, the way that you can roam and swing with it. Whereas holding angles on CT side now feels a bit harder. It doesn't feel as easy to get it down. Utility being so much more important as well, right? You can break smokes, you can use that element. And flashbang's almost getting a bit less sort of pull into CS2 for each other to peek off one another. So it does feel like T-side teams really do go above and beyond. A lot of stock on the T-side these days. We're back at it, though. MP9 stays in play. 360 uses that to go for the deep push down middle. Back turn. Allen should have gone down. Tree trapped behind the half wall. Can't commit on the frag as the Galil will rip its way through him. So first player falls. And again, it's an initial pick falling over to B2TG.
A bit impressive. Very impressive. Allen seems to really be relishing this T-half so far. Gontar has been a consistent threat on both sides. Not that this round is anywhere close to being done just yet with an AK and an XM in play. But considering that Docs is sat on B site by himself with a USP, looking a bit grim. He does, however, have a smoke, which, of course, as soon as he gets any kind of indication or a spidey sense starts tingling, can throw that down, try and blockade with a HG and a flash behind it, and stall for as long as possible. Could afford another situation similar to the previous round, where even if he goes down and dies, the rest of his team can go ahead and save. Not necessarily the USP, of course. The AK and the XM are going to be worth a lot more. And the Kevlar's on top of it. So the smoke's going to come down now. HG behind it. Allen takes a bunch of damage. And Docs actually takes him out. Surprisingly, frags him. And that now funnels B2TG into the A-side play where the XM is waiting. The AK's tapping on the cross. A lot of damage, but no secondary kill. And Docs now needs to make moves back over and strike to try and take down the rest of these players. Or at least retrieve one of those fallen weapons. He's going to decide to hide in the alcove. A bit of a scrappy round here, though, Jackie. But Docs could do a bit more damage yet.
You could at least make it a bit costly for them. Just tucks in towards that mini pit. Waits to see if anyone pushes out, if they exit over towards library side. He'll hear the audio cue when Tyne drops off of Grave as well, and he's really low. So that'll be the free frag confirmed off of that. You've grabbed the AK. If he gets away with the Kalashnikov, more than happy for the outcome, at least in the overall economy fight into that round. It's unlucky as well for Zai, right? Because it's one of those where when you've got an auto shotty in a spot like that, XM10, boy, does it ruin their day, or does it leave you going, I wish it hit, I wish it killed them. It's the difference of just landing that headshot and being able to chain the frags together where it wipes them out so quickly, versus if you miss a shot, it's the loudest thing in the world. The delay between the next shot gives everyone so much more time to just get a tap off onto you, and he falls with only one in the pocket. Gets 2 frags, who knows, maybe it's a bit of a different story. But in this outcome, we're looking at a 10-7. There is weaponry to play with for either team. Tree is sticking to his guns literally, as again he pulls out the XM10 for that control towards quad with the backup of his teammate, this time playing under. Ooh, here we go, Vince. They could be walking into the headshot angle, the jaws of the shotgun.
They could, and 360's also already shown us that he's more than capable of obliging if he's given those opportunities. It's going to be backing away, however. Still have the crossfire set up between quad and arches. Smoke down onto mid. Trying to funnel the T's up onto banana side. That HE. Decent damage. Chuck was able to jump back just in time not to eat the brunt of it. That would have been 50 or 60 at least if he was stood napping. Smoke down behind it as well. So K10 are doing a solid job of utilizing their smokes and their mollies, etc. to push back B2TG for as long as they possibly can and keep them stuck on these T-steps.
T-side shuffles their way up towards the middle of Banana. K10 respond by going for a boost on the flower pods, put rest on the elevated angle where that M4 can get some spray. And Dox plays there as well. They drop the smoke now. That's going to leave you with 4 seconds by the time it fades. They can't afford to wait. They instead opt to break the smoke and run on through. Even if they take down Dox, they might not expect the second man in the same angle. Great play from them, doubling up like that. And now the T's are panicking. You got no time, you got no bomb, and you're so fragmented that even staying alive is going to be a bit of a tall task.
Yeah, it was a beautiful setup, as you highlighted. The boosted up player was able to finish off what the CT side player was starting, and the smoke did nothing to affect his vision. B2TG a bit shook after that one. Back into another buy. AWP AKs across the board, but K10, because they built up such a vast lead and momentum in that first half, even though they've lost 4 out of 2 rounds here on their CT side, it doesn't really matter a great deal, because as soon as they start to strike success, B2TG are just a couple of rounds away from defeat, from elimination. K10 early on with tons of utility once again. And it really was a case of using those smokes perfectly to keep B2TG on their back foot on the T-steps for so long that they didn't have time. So that's why Alan's picked up the pace and he's picked up the rewards and 2 heads on top of it.
Skewers his way up Banana and finds that entry. Zai's going to rotate. Ooh, tried to break the smoke so he could have a peek in. Nade rolls ahead, and Alan's already boosted on the close pedestal towards first oranges. He finds that one for free. Hard shooting there as well from Time. And that's a connection. Shuts down Shine there. 11-8 now, Vince. From what was quite a flat half on their CT side, there's been a lot of pace, a lot of momentum found on their T side. They're looking like they're giving this a really good run for the money. K10 at this point, starting to concede quite a few rounds. You are 1 away from match point at the very least, so the safety net is close. But this isn't going to be an easy round by any means. Light investment, few upgrades here and there. Tree even opting to go for the Zeus, wants to make this one a shocking affair if they do take it. Meanwhile, Shine has grabbed the MP9, and the rest of B2TG should understand they just need to play a bit more of a slow round. Wait for the CTs to peek into you. Play that anti-eco, and if they push you, you have the advantage with range.
In they come, the T's. I've just caught wind there, Jackie. I believe Bleed have been eliminated in the first round. Ooh. I could be wrong, but that's what I've been informed.
I did hear they were losing that game, so if they've gone on to lose it, that's rough.
Very rough, considering they were one of the teams that people were most excited for and had the most expectations for. However, back into our game, and Shine with the MP9 with the real weapon that could be a bit of a problem has been sent packing early doors. CZ for Zai did spot the player on mid, but Tien also spotted him in return, so they're going to turn tail and get back onto that Banana side. It's going to be 2 versus 5. Dox has a 5.7. Rest also has a 5.7. We know this gun can rip straight through domes if given the chance, which Rest has done for the first, trying to bait Dox in, but too many angles for him to cover, too many bodies up against him. And B2TG are looking good for a 9-11 score here, which would be quite the turnaround. They're going to be playing for more exit frag positions, it seems, K10. But this round is a done deal. They have no kit, no way of getting back onto the site.
Thing is, you've at least got the bookend setup 40 exits, so maybe there's a chance. CS2's bomb radius, you cannot afford to stay this close to the bomb site, even with a lot of HP to your name. So they exit together, everyone's going CT. Zai will relay this to his teammate, but he's got to hit his shots. Does clean up with 2, cleaves his way through them. The MP9 of Tree denies the getaway for Gontar. Any damage done onto that T-side economy is going to be worth so much. They'll be happy with that one. There is an AWP recovered, but it's at least dented them. Forces out the rebuy. It means they can't consistently keep the cash building. They will have to spend some of it and bring down those big bank accounts to a bit more of a reasonable level of bloat.
Bit stunned here, Jackie. I've got to be honest, man. Taking stock of this game. I mean, K10 were just running rampant. It felt like B2TG. I go back to that first pistol where Katka didn't throw out the smoke. It looked like they were shook. It looked like they were nervous and anxious and out of their depth, to be completely honest. But tons of respect for how they bounced back into this game. Gontar had to press forward through the Molotovs, and in doing so, was he just killed by a flashbang alongside that molly? It looked like a bit of a strange one on the kill feed. Regardless, though, he is in his grave.
Mate, I mean, they do a lot of damage in real life. They blow your fingertips off. So just the sheer impact of sending him out of the round. In this one, you're down a man, and the pressure's mounting. Late game territory as well. You can't afford to let things slip now. And they've already gone down by 2 players. As Zai will swing again. Take time out of it. Ooh, Docs with a headshot on a banana battle as well, and it is looking a little bit scary. Their backs are going to be arching here. Oh, Kakax focused so heavily on clearing Cubby that he doesn't put his eyes in the right location. The full frontal assault from directly ahead of him. Shulk trying to make a shocker, but he slips down to Tree 60. And that's K10, 1 round away from picking this one up and moving on to the 3rd round of the qualifier.
Yeah, valiant attempt from B2TG. A really nice comeback. But it feels like they have stalled and tripped just as the finish line draws near. K10, 3 match points. And what's good news, you know, for K10, a bit of a scrappier game than what we've seen them do previously in the brackets with a lot of solid wins we've already discussed. But everyone's sharing the burden here. Everyone is fragging. Everyone's over 10 or 11 kills. It's not just one man that's carrying the rest. And that's going to bode well for the rest of the bracket, potentially, you know? Even if they have a bit of a slow start here, as long as everyone is kicking off the day with a decent performance, that's what you can really ask for. 360 maybe coming up against the MAC-10 close range, but he has the angle unless he pushes in, and that timing is so grim, so dicey, puts way more pressure on Zai. He passes with flying colors and he puts the bullet through the dome, but gets traded out by Allen. Shines put damage down from Library, but he's very susceptible to being flanked in from that Khalil if he gets overextensive. And that's why they throw the smoke down. They want to bait him into a false sense of security. Does he realistically check this angle? It's hard to see how he does, and that's going to cost Ox his life. Second spray comes in, and B2TG aren't done just yet. They're still in this game.
Boy, oh boy. Hearts on their sleeves. Hearts probably in their mouths, honestly, with how much they've got to be beating right now, because these are terrifying rounds, but they get it. They clinch their way through. The close quarters connection. The library control that makes a world of difference on the retake. K10, they can technically afford to concede this one in the grand scheme of the game when you're looking at the fact they've already got match point. But with how dicey things are getting, with this getting closer and closer to maybe being a potential overtime scenario, does that start to get under your skin a little bit? Make it itch. The door not liking that one, as it will fall over. Some bad carpentry there. K10 still going to have a little bit of money to work with. Few players better off than others. It's not an equal splitting when it comes to the paper. So they'll be figuring out how exactly they equalize their funds into this round. A magnitude of MP9s brought out. It's not the worst thing in the world. They really do still pack a punch. CZs, I absolutely hate. I loathe them. But some players do love using them. And they've gone for 2 into this round, Vince. So a lot of stock being put in those automatic pistols.
Yeah, it's to facilitate this half buy, isn't it? Because they know if they full buy into this and lose, it's likely going to OT. Whereas this gives them a punt. It gives them like a free hit. And they can go in for another buy into the next one. But they do have enough firepower to make this one sting if they get a bit overzealous and shook straight through into the embracing arms of Zai. That CZ comes good for 360. Shine's also got one of his own in the apps. Although he's low, the timing here could work out for him. If Zai goes out for that peek and spots a couple players, Shine can go for that wraparound, but now Katka is there watching quad and make it way more difficult. Zai gets plucked out, but they're now going to be moving into the Archers player. The MP9 for Dox, but he gets nothing. Absolutely zilch from that position. Rest now making moves through on CT side. Has the drop on the first player. Gets the spray onto the second, but it's only 50 HP. It looks like we may be going the distance, barring a Shine 1v2 clutch. And considering he's just picked up the AWP, he probably would prefer to save.
It's got to be the thought process. Surely. Economically, logistically, it makes the most sense. He does invest a lot into this, though, already. I mean, the fact he's walking up towards Top Banana, you don't know where exactly they could be playing. And that smoke's still got a half of its timer left. Does eventually fade as they're back towards CT. He clears the default angles and then starts to walk away. All right. Doesn't over-egg it. Doesn't over-commit. Could have thrown it all away in a matter of seconds there. But at least he still has that up. That's a big element carried into the next. But Vince, from where this game started, from where it once was, you know, we're having speculation. We're having time to talk about potential brackets, potential games that could be coming up, thinking it was more of a formality for K10 here. B2TG had a massive facelift onto their T side. Really have changed the game. And now we're one round away from this actually having some overtime to it. The story still goes. But what's the ending looking like? Will it be an extra chapter, a sequel from the author? Or is this just going to be a rough, abrupt ending, a cliffhanger with K10 moving on? Alan's gone for the P90 as well. All right. You do see it from time to time now. You know, previously CSGO, it felt like people didn't want to pick it up. Even though it had such a high rate of fire, the low kill reward on it, and the fact that it feels a bit BM, people avoided it. CS2, that's gone out the window. That high rate of fire and mobility is so damn good. We saw a lot of use out of it back at IEM Sydney, and I'm surprised we haven't seen more of it throughout the Open Qualifiers, Vince. First time we're seeing the big P90 pulled out.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's based off his spawn. He has the best spawn of his team. I'll be curious to see if he tries to beat the mollies and HEs up on Banana and just run and gun spray it down with those 50 bullets of doom and misery. Yeah, it's a gun that I think got a bit memed on in CSGO, but as we've already discussed, the SMGs in this game, in this iteration of CS2, are way, way more powerful. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see more P90s, to be honest, especially in situations like this. But I also feel a bit like Shaq right now, Jackie. I'm like, I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game, B2TG. Because I thought, like you, they were going to get slaughtered, especially after the first 5 or 6 rounds. And yet here we are, a chance at maybe OT.
No, it's crazy, isn't it? They've given us a great display of what they've got. And I think even for them right now, with how this is going, it's a good test. It's a good show of the steel that they've got. They've proved they're handy with it. And they're going for that B bombardment. They're going to beat the nade. It still does a lot of damage onto him, though, and slows down the push. Restless, as he wants to take this one down in regulation, finishes it off.